there is a holding back in Kyle right now. And I'm like, why? She always tells us everything. Like she always reveals everything about her life. And just now I'm feeling she's just holding back. And then Dorit and Kyle together, like, I don't even know which side I fucking want to be on. Cause I'm like,
I know. I feel like it's just like Shannon and John when Shannon was with John and she was like afraid to talk about him on the show, despite what he says now. But it's the same thing where I feel like she's got a hold on her, like a psychological hold.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Don't Let It Stu. Today, my guest is Kate Casey. You all know her. She has a really, really popular podcast, and you're an unscripted TV expert. Do you just give advice of like tell everybody like what to watch every week?
Yeah, so it's a daily. I have 6 episodes a week. So on Monday, I tell you what to watch. Tuesday through Friday, I interview the people that are featured or who make executive producer, direct anything in unscripted. So that's reality television, but also documentaries and docuseries. And I really do cover every genre: true crime, sports, romance, reality, competition. And then on Saturdays, I have what I call my Saturday series, which I began talking about my own personal story because I'd been interviewing people for many years. And then I was like, if I talk a little bit more about my story, I think people will have a better idea of the kinds of interviews that I pursue, the questions I ask.
Yeah.
And then over time, I just interview people that have just great stories. Like the last episode I did, it's this family whose dad died 14 years ago, but they make these really funny videos.
Yeah.
And they became like these really helpful people that help others who they'll never meet about grief.
Cool stories to find. Like
cool stories, yeah.
I was like, I need to stop talking about Housewives eventually. And like I want to get like kind of maybe like relationship experts on. I want to get like, I follow so many of them on Instagram and they're just so interesting to me. And I really want to like get one or two of them on. I just don't know how I'm going to do it. Or maybe it's like a bonus podcast. I mean, next week, this is crazy. I'm getting 3 like super like really popular Taylor Swift fans on because the last concert's on next weekend in Vancouver. So like there's so like these people, they live and die. Like they stream the concerts and all.
But what is important to you? Because I think a show should be what matters to you, and then people follow. If you're just interviewing people for the sake of like,
that's boring.
That might be a good expert, you're not gonna feel good about your show. Because here's the deal that I know after all these years. You can invite outsiders in.
Yeah.
Most people don't promote the episode. So you're gonna go, why did I even do that? So if it is something that you care about, then people will come and want to stick around and make you a part of their life every week.
Yeah. Like I want to do it because it's just interesting to me. You know what I mean? And then the listeners then will, I feel like you can't like lie. It's like Housewives. They all have to be friends or it doesn't work. You can't just like cast these people and just hope they all get together because you can see it on the TV. It's like New York right now. It's like, it's so disconnected. People are fucking bored. They're making up stories and it's just not working.
Yeah.
You know, in just my opinion. Okay. So I always start off each episode with like, get off your chest if anything's bothering you this week. There's always something. I went out to Century City the other day for Black Friday, right?
Okay.
For Friday. And I was like, okay, great. Look, you know what? I'll go around. I'll have a nice lunch, go shopping and see what's out. There's no Black Friday deals. Like it's gone. Like the whole Black Friday thing.
At Century City Mall, there was in Fashion Island where I live. That's weird.
I mean, there wasn't a few stores, but like a lot of them, I was like, hey, do you guys have? They're like, no. I'm like, not even 10% off. Banana Republic had an amazing one, did 40% off. I went in there and like dropped like $1,000 and like went out the door with like $250. It was awesome. And that was all I did. That was the only shopping. But like you usually will get the 20 or 30% off in all the stores. Like I just was really, really surprised. I was just like, and even Target like has like, I don't know, like 10% off. And they're promoting.
That's weird.
It's really, really weird. Like I don't know what's changed, or I know people like kind of holding back after the election. They don't know what's going to happen in January. Like I don't know. Like do you
I think part of it, well, some of it could be the brick and mortar stores. They have had less people come to the stores, and the rent's so high that most people just shop online. So that could be part of it.
That's probably part of it. Like probably tomorrow, like a Monday, Cyber Monday will be kind of crazy. Maybe I should have waited. I don't know. Will it be 50% off?
It's hard too, though, because the day after Thanksgiving, you're bored. So it's like, okay, well, what do you do? Well, okay, well, you're shopping.
And I kind of like it. It has this kind of like Christmassy spirit, like with it, and people are out there spending money. It's nice and kind of
Yeah.
cozy and holiday and all that kind of stuff. Anything for yourself? Anything bothering you, pissing you off?
Okay, 2 things. I have a lot of kids,
Okay,
enough with a holiday party
and
for
great.
everything. I have 5.
You 5 kids?
Mhm.
How are you even like have time to do this with me today? You're
Well, if you wanna get stuff done, you give it to somebody who has a lot of kids. I don't
yeah,
know. You
yeah,
become one when you have kids, you become a really good, multitasker and also really good with your time management. So a lot of women who freak out, I think in the beginning, like, "I'm working, how am I gonna do this?" I always say, "You're gonna be more creative, a better collaborator, better at your time management." So, yeah, you just figure it out. But I think that for me, with all the kids, there are too many holiday parties. Like, I don't need to go to the ornament exchange thing. I don't need to go to
yeah,
the
yeah.
you know, like,
Why
every grade has a party, like, we don't need to do that.
yeah,
And then in my world, my work world, I think that I'm annoyed at networks for not taking more risks. I think that you'll see more movement at, like, 2025 Q3, but they're
yeah.
just buying so much old IP and keeping cast members on shows who are really boring because they don't wanna take any risks, and I'm over that. I want new stories, new people.
Also, everyone, in case you do not know, my merch store is now live at hurrdatmedia.com/shop. My personal favorite is the hoodie with Don't Let It Stu down the side. I designed them and they're fun. Grab yourself a mug, an apron, a baseball cap. Hurrdatmedia.com/shop. I agree. I agree. TV is like, even I'm pitching shows right now, and it's
No one's buying
no
anything.
one is buying anything.
Yeah,
And
they
it's
haven't been buying anything since 2021, so it's
you
very
know, and like
frustrating.
as you know, like Amy Phillips and I rewrote that Housewives cookbook, so it kind of threw me into the Housewives world and so forth by writing that book. And so I'm like, okay, like I think I'm trying to like pitch shows fitting those housewives into different scenarios because I feel like
I
okay,
wouldn't do that. I wouldn't
but
do that
it's
because 'cause they're old it's like old IP. It's like you
yeah,
there are more interesting people out there.
because I just thought like, okay, this is a safe bet because they already have fans, they all have already have a viewing, like so there's not a massive risk here because they're not buying anything, and I'm
Yeah.
like, even that doesn't work.
Are you only pitching to one network?
I'm pitching like with a production company right now.
No, but only to Peacock Bravo. Well, that's a problem
Yeah, I
too
mean,
because
like if they're the only place
outside networks don't care about
they don't
housewives.
care about housewives, exactly.
That's hard too because 'cause you're only pitching to 1 or 2 networks versus throwing a wider
I know.
net.
Someday it'll hit. I don't know when, but someday it will.
Brother, preaching to the choir, I get it.
Have you watched Beverly Hills this week?
Of course, I watch it all. I watch everything.
I was like, Jesus, I hope you watch it.
Mm.
How do you think it's going so far? Like, how do you like overall? Just like we're only 2 episodes in, but what's your thoughts?
Beverly Hills to me is different
Mm,
because I feel like they're the most contained. You know, we never really totally know who all of the women are
sure.
because they're so used to acting and
Yeah.
maybe it's even subconscious, like creating a character. I think
Hmm.
they all have kind of created their own characters on TV. So I kind of was grateful this week that Erica called out Garcelle and Sutton and said they need to show more of their lives.
Yeah.
Conversely, I think that when I watched Dorit in the first 2 episodes, I'm now wondering, "Who are you?" I don't even know who you are
I,
because this is a different this are like, are you playing a character or
I,
this is a part of yourself that you have yet to reveal because you were working so hard at cultivating this image of, like,
I
this
know. I like
Judy
pop.
Cleaver, mother of the home, happy sometimes I would watch that, and I'm like, "No mom that I know is like that."
Yeah. Yeah.
"Felix, Jagger, please come here. Let's do this little art project." Like, I don't most moms with lots of kids are like, "You, get over here. What's your name again?"
Yeah. 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 It's I mean, last week I like popped off and I was like, I don't believe one fucking thing that comes out of her mouth. Like I just don't. I just
Yeah.
it's so it is like she's acting. So like, is this who she really is now? And she was acting all along, or she was real all along, and now that she's acting. Like I
You
feel
don't
like
know.
all
Yeah,
forced now. Yeah. Like I don't
yeah.
know who she is. And
I also didn't like that scene where she talked about PK and just kept saying that he was an alcoholic. It
I
felt
know.
pretty rude.
It was really fucking rude. It was
I
like,
didn't like it.
and it, it follows up like when they're sitting down for dinner, and then PK says, like, I was an entrepreneur, I brought you with me, and this and the other, and now you just belittle me. I totally believe that. I feel like she does belittle him.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I interviewed him once. I really liked him actually.
Yeah.
I also think he got the short end of the stick in that conversation. I can kind of understand why he would be upset because
Mm.
she kind of dismissed his support after the robbery, and
Yeah.
I didn't believe that. I think listen, if you have a robbery and you have 2 small children, I just don't see a husband, like, completely being absent because the aftermath of that is the kids are affected too, so,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't really believe much that she says. I don't know who that person is. I don't know who she is.
And it's like, and then you go to Kyle and Dorit, and they're at the party and they're finishing up that whole conversation, and it's Kyle leaves because Kyle is even like, "Who the
Kyle's
fuck
like,
are
"Who
you?"
are you?" Yeah, but then
It is,
I get frustrated with the Kyle and the Morgan because
yeah,
what I suspect is that Morgan is kinda got a hold on it. She's probably saying, "I don't want you talking about me on the show," and
uh,
that's confusing because Kyle's like, "But we've filmed, not only a video together, but you've been on the show the season before, so, like" so that must be hard because she feels the pressure that she's gotta be more open about her life, but I suspect a lot of it is Morgan is like, "Don't mention me on the show," and then you're, like, in headspin, like, "What do I do?"
I always I feel like Morgan didn't want to be with her, and I feel like that's kind of the falling out. I think
Yeah, I feel like we all feel like that. We're, like, I feel like I'm protective of almost all the housewives
yeah,
because I do feel, grateful that they put themselves in a position where they're
mhm,
exposing their lives, and Lord knows, anybody has a social media account gets criticism, but then you put yourself on a TV show. So there's an aspect of that, and I like that they are providing an opportunity for women's stories who are predominantly unseen in other areas of entertainment.
yeah,
They're telling those stories. So I am, like, protective of them, and I try to give them benefit of the doubt. Um, I f I feel like I'm protective of Kyle from
yeah.
afar, as what you probably do too. It's
I
like
always like her.
like,
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
are you doing? Like, are you in love with her? Like, are you telling her that you
There's
can't talk
something
about anything? Like, what is happening?
there is a holding back in Kyle right now, and I'm like, why? She always tells us everything. Like she always reveals everything about her life, and just now I'm feeling yeah, she's just holding back, and then Dorit and Kyle together. Like I don't even know which side I fucking want to be on because I'm like,
I
I feel
know. I
like
feel
Kyle,
like it's just like Shannon and John when Shannon was with John and she was, like,
yeah,
afraid to talk about him on the show,
huh,
despite what he says now, but it's the same thing where I feel like she's got a hold on her, like a psychological hold.
mm, mm. And then like Kyle being like, "Oh, I was really hurt at BravoCon when you said like I was the last sister like that you liked or whatever." Like it was a joke. It was like that. Like that's what she's heard about. Like I feel like
Well,
Kyle's.
it's always more than what they say. It's usually has to do with, like, how much they're getting paid, how much exposure they get, who gets asked for certain opportunities, like Watch What Happens Live. Those are always really what the fights are about. But in a lot of
Yeah,
Kyle's case, I think it is she
yeah,
feels like some of the women are social climbing by using her sister. I think that gets under her skin because she's probably dealt with that her whole life. Like,
yeah,
people in the entertainment industry, like, "Do you like me or do you like what I can provide you?"
yeah. And do you think then like Dorit was trying to be friends with Kyle, and Kyle was like, "I don't really want to be friends with you. Like you're trying to ride on
Yeah.
my coattails." And I
That
feel
and
like
I also
yeah,
feel like she's that kind of friend or
uh-huh.
friend like, she doesn't listen. She's
Kyle.
probably never asks Kyle anything about herself, and anytime you wanna call her and talk to her about something, all she does is talk, 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 and doesn't
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah, 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 and that's what they say. And what did said Garcelle said that she's like, "Oh, I know."
They're
When
all sick of it. Well, it's very telling that they all said she went to Boz to talk because she didn't have anybody else.
didn't have anybody else, yeah. Then we're up at the Godfrey Hotel, then with Kyle, and then Sutton. I mean, Sutton is driving me crazy. I just like she's like, "I think you should get a divorce." It's like, fucking stick out of it. You're getting your $200,000 a month. Like,
I actually didn't bother me at all, because I
I
think when you're a real friend and you have kinda seen things play
yeah,
out, and then you have your own life experience, why would you would feel like you were letting someone down if you didn't say something. And a
sure.
real friend would go, "You know what? I totally get what you're saying. You have been through the legal issues
Mhm,
before me,
mhm.
and that's fine." I don't think Kyle should have been so sensitive about that.
I thought when Kyle was saying when they talked about the divorce thing, she's like, "We're fine, like, we're 50-50, like, I'm kind of 50-50 in the
Well,
agency."
by the way, all couples say that, and then it becomes
I know,
dirty.
and then it becomes dirty. I was just like, "Oh god, Kyle, like, don't be so fucking naive."
But
Like,
Kyle's also been like in the past, she said, like, "I'm a people pleaser." She's the youngest of a family of 3, she's been in the industry a long time. You know, she's always trying to be the peacemaker. So, of course, she's gonna be like, "No, the marriage, we're fine, we're great friends." And I think Sutton, conversely, is like, "You're great friends until you get the lawyers involved, and then you need to protect yourself."
When do you think that's gonna happen? Do you think they are gonna get divorced?
I think they'll get back together.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, interesting. Maybe. Yeah. Huh. I didn't think about that. I thought
I
they
think
were.
for Kyle, I think her family unit is really important to her,
Uh-huh.
and I think she needed time to find her power again. I think she's probably she was a caretaker for so long. I think a lot of women go through this. The older girls have left home.
Yeah.
You know, they've created their own lives. Portia's out. I think she's a sophomore in high school.
Mm.
And I think she got to a place where she was like, "My entire world is built around taking care of other people, whether it's my family, my extended family, or the show, and I need some time and introspection to figure out who I am and find my own power." So I think in the end, she might come back and go, "I'm a better version of myself, and I think that you now know what you lose by not having me in your life." I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
It could work out.
I loved when Erica was in the confessional and she was like, PK and Mo are having the time of their lives and we're here fighting in Encino.
Exactly.
Funny. I was
Yeah.
crazy because nobody lives in Beverly Hills. I think Erica's the only one that lives in Beverly Hills now. Does she?
I maybe.
Or
I don't know,
something?
it kinda looked like, it kinda looked right outside. She seems too hip for Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
her friends would not live they would live somewhere else, don't you think?
I think so. I think you just get like more for your money, like Encino and stuff like that. And people just go over there because there's the prices in Beverly Hills are just insane.
I know.
You know? Um,
Yeah, but if you live in Encino, those properties are so big, so if you're like an Erica, you don't need that much space.
yeah, exactly.
She's
And
not
then
like, "Oh, yeah, 4,800 square feet, that's right up my alley. Who
so
cares?"
what's going on with Dorit and PK's house then? Like they did 4 like non-payments or something on the
I
mortgage. So
I
it's
don't
gonna
know, but it's
be closure now?
very I hate when they start talking about financial stuff. It, like, makes me because I feel like too many of them wanna project this image of a financial portfolio that doesn't exist, and then I think about the money that they spent on the clothing and the
Yeah.
lifestyle and the glam squads, and it's just like that's all I can think of when I see Real Housewives of Salt Lake City's Bronwyn. I'm like, "Eh,
Yeah.
is this gonna be a sinking ship?" I mean, I know he worked in
Dang,
tech, but,
I mean,
like,
just
ho
like with
I know
PK,
people in tech who they don't spend money like that, I don't know.
it's like Doritos, and that house was huge. It's a beautiful house, and where are they living now? Does that mean they're moved out of it, or I don't know. I just think
I
it is
don't know.
all come crashing
But then
down.
again, I don't know because we don't really know who she is. We don't believe anything. So, you know?
Different person. We don't even know. So that's, I mean, really, there's no crazy storylines happening yet. Like in the first 2 episodes, so we'll see how it plays out. I really like Boz though. I can't wait.
Yes.
I can't wait to
You know
check.
what I like? Uh, that she tells a different story of the entertainment industry. I mean, that every franchise should tell the story of the women that live there, and you have to tell the story of Beverly Hills and the LA is it's an entertainment industry town. So we get the child actor perspective with Crystal Minkoff. We got the wife of a producer perspective.
Yeah.
Um, Sutton's kind of an outsider because she has this money from from her divorce, but he worked in financial services. So she represents to me more of like a Candy Spelling where
Yeah.
maybe she'll put money into producing, but she's not like in the industry. She's sort of, and living there or living here, that it's a city where it's like, who are you and what can you do for me?
Mhm. Totally.
Um, Jennifer Tilly gives the actress perspective, but I like that Boz gives the different perspective, like working within the industry, the business side of it, and
Yeah.
I hope that they lean into that and tell more of that.
Yeah. She's really interesting and like, yeah, I just love that she's like with CEOs and CFOs and all that stuff. Like it is going to be kind of cool. So Orange County ended. What did you think of that season? So like as a whole, kind of, did you like Katie, the new girl?
Uh,
Or
I kind of felt like by the end of it and the bonus episode, it seemed like Katie and Jen are kind of irrelevant.
really? No, I really like the two of them. The
I
last,
mean,
yeah, they weren't really.
they're not in the core group. Jen drove me crazy because she represents to me a woman who kind of just has relied on men. I just don't know women like that. I choose not to be friends with women that are like that. I choose to be friends with women who are really strong and have a
Yeah,
point of view, and I feel like she has the point of view of her
husband or
husband
boy.
or boyfriend,
Yeah,
much
yeah,
like Alexis Bellina, who I also don't like either. That
yeah.
just to me, that's not like a modern story. Unless Jen has this awakening, she leaves the boyfriend and she
Sure.
starts going back and really working. But a lot of the stuff she does, I'm like, this is so annoying. Like she gets to go get a mammogram, and she says that she felt something, but she just put it off because it was like I have too much on my plate. But she's the mom of 5 kids, so like that stuff. I'm like, is this a modern story? But by the end of it, when they all met at Emily's, I was like, well,
Yeah.
that's the core
Yeah.
group. But
And
I live here.
yeah.
And I always say this, and people probably find it annoying, but I just find the women that live here to be far more interesting than the cast that they have on the show. I mean, it just doesn't seem like the modern story of what Orange County is like here. For example,
Yeah.
so many people have left LA and have
Mhm.
moved to Orange County. We have a whole influx of really cool people who I think add a completely different dynamic. And
Yeah.
I
That's
think
the
people
show.
outside of this world kind of think everybody who lives in OC is, like hair extensions and French tips and sky tops and
Mm.
overinflated lips. And it's like it's changing here. It's different, just like
Yeah.
New
I
York
love
is
down there.
changed post COVID.
I love going down there. It's so fun.
So
Orange
where do
County.
you like to go down here?
I like Newport.
That's where I live.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have to hit you up the next time I come down. Yeah, I love going down to South Coast Plaza there. It's like walking around.
South Coast Plaza. That's so
Yeah,
funny.
or in
Yeah, but
DK.
when you go to South Coast Plaza, do you look around and does everybody look like a Real Housewives of Orange County?
No,
No, we
it's
have like a huge Asian community,
very
huge
different. Yeah.
Persian community. It's very diverse here, and Newport. There are different pockets of it. Like if you're in Newport Coast, you're probably going to have women that tend to dress a little bit more glamorous. Like
Huh.
they'll drive their Bentley with the car seats in the back to go to the preschool. But then when you kind of move inland, like to like Corona Del Mar, Newport Heights, they're like surf moms. They're wearing like trucker hats that say, you know, excuse me, surf.
It's like,
They're like laid back.
oh my God, Aviator Nation, like all over the place. Uh,
Aviator Nation for
yeah.
sure. Yep.
Okay, Salt Lake City. Like, I'm just obsessed with it. I just think it's so fucking funny every week. These women are just
It's a little
hilarious.
too campy for me, I think.
Is
Eh.
it?
I
Uh,
feel like that franchise, the story is really it's about marriages. Because
mm,
listen, it's like not the most opulent place, and
no.
I just I saw the screener for the new, real estate show on Bravo about Salt Lake City, and you
Uh-huh.
realize what you could get oh my god, what you could get in Utah, no wonder people move there, but, I mean, it doesn't have the opulence
No.
of other excuse me, of other places, but to me, the show's really about the marriages. Like Lisa Barlow's marriage, like they're
Uh-huh.
very obviously codependent, but have been married a long time. Heather, the fact that she left her husband because she wanted to like establish her own life and kind of
Mhm.
realized quickly soon after that he was a complete dud. Bronwyn's marriage to me, I'm still kind of like trying to
That
figure it
one
out.
was me.
That's another one where I worry about her because
Uh-huh.
I feel like when he walks into a room, she always
She's
darts her
different.
eyes to the
Yeah.
ground.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And then when they're at the table, well, she did say the CUNT word, and he's like, "Don't say that. Don't speak like that." Or if I was like, "Fuck, he's gonna kill her later." Yeah, it's just like, my God.
Listen,
Um,
I can to some degree, I can understand if a husband was like,
that's
okay, you're
fine.
acting a little crazy for
Yeah,
TV, like, dial it
yeah.
back." But her body language concerns me.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it's like she has to ask for permission from him, like, and that's what money does sometimes, you know? I mean, she gets what she wants. I guess you have to put up with some things like that. Um, Meredith and Mary, I think that fight was just so dumb. Like the whole going to the gallery and she's like an hour late, and then Mary kind of is like blaming Meredith because she doesn't know what's going on in her life with her son. Like, well, of course she doesn't. You don't fucking tell her.
Yeah,
Do you know
it's
what I
a
mean?
tough one.
Like, yeah, and
Yeah, I
then
watched that whole scene with her her son, and I was really touched how open he was. But then I saw Allie, Jill Zarin's daughter's post about how she thought it was not in his best interest because that will never die. Like, that'll air in perpetuity,
yeah,
syndication for years to come, and I thought, you know what? I think you're right. That's a good point.
yeah, I watched it yesterday and I was like, "Oh my God," I was like crying watching it. It was so fucking sad. And it seemed like he didn't even I feel like the son didn't even know that they were filming. Like he was so out of it and kind of like high and like because I feel
Yeah.
like if he was any bit aware to be like, we're not fucking filming this, you know? I just feel like it was a true moment. I didn't think it was gonna play out the way it did. I don't even think Mary thought it was gonna play out the way it did. And Yeah, it's like that moment where, you know, I've known people that are addicts and stuff, and they've broken down to me, and it was that moment, and I was just brought me back to that moment when someone just, I have a fucking problem, and this is what it is, and that was the moment that
The
you just,
only upside maybe is that I think that everybody, will kind of hold someone like that accountable because they've seen it on TV.
yeah,
And at the same time, like, where's the violation of privacy? I don't know. It's a hard one, but Andy said that he's doing quite well, and
it's great.
we can all just hope the best. But I think that it was nice to see a window into Mary, who just seems very obtuse. Like, it's very
Mhm.
hard to figure out who she is. But what we all do know to be true is that she loves her child more than herself. And I think again, that's a really important story to be told. I love the Housewives for that reason. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm protective again as a woman. Like, these are our stories, and they
yeah.
put themselves out there. And this is an issue that affects a lot of families. And I am grateful that that story is being told, but I
Mm,
do understand what Ali is saying, that she had been a child on a show like this, and there are
yeah.
aspects of her life, I'm sure, like, people must ask her about going to fat camp all the time, and now she's, like, what, in her 30s? She's probably like, "Leave me alone."
Was that a thing? Was that a thing with Ali on the show, like going to
Yeah,
fact?
they, her she Jill and the stepfather took her on a puddle jumper plane to this camp, and it was like a fat camp.
I don't remember that. Jesus,
It was so long ago, but, those
I gotta
things, like,
apologize.
you are that age for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. My God, I never thought about it that way.
So
In
Robert in 15 years could be married with a family and work a great business, but he's gonna be asked for the rest of his life, "How about that time that you were so high on drugs? Are you okay now? Are you sure you can have this job? Because you were on
yeah,
TV and you talked about how you took this number of Xanax every day."
it's always gonna be a risk then wherever he gets employed, I guess, from here on out.
But then
Um,
if you're married, you might be like, "You know what? This may be the only thing I can do to really save him because now
yeah,
he has to see himself on TV."
uh-huh. Yeah, and if you yeah,
Parenting to me is blissful agony because it is the most incredible love of your
yeah,
life and
yeah,
purpose, but it's agony because, you can only control so much.
yeah, yeah. It's super, super sad. Do you think though, remember they were all around the campfire, they were doing the scouts thing, and they all kept saying like something's going on with Mary, like something's going on with her, da, 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 like
I'm sure the producers must be like,
producer,
"She's
yeah.
not here because there's something going on," and they're all kinda like,
You
"Wait, like,
think
what
that's
what
what
is?"
happened, and then they went camping, and then
Possibly.
and then they were like, "Oh, say this so we can kinda set up the story," and then eventually, like,
Maybe
end.
just the way it flows. Like, listen, something like that happens, you don't wanna go to some fireside and, like,
Yeah,
you need a couple days to calibrate.
that it was so funny that camping thing. They're all sitting around. It just looks like so cold, so miserable, like nobody's happy, and they're all there, they're all talking to each other, and then by the end of it, everyone hates each other.
Well,
Like,
I think they probably all do hate each other to some degree already.
it's just I was like, there was going to come like a kumbaya moment, and Heather was like, "Fucking everybody's fighting."
Yeah.
It just went off. It just went like just sideways. The whole thing. I thought it was really funny. Um, I loved the joke about Meredith's a hearing aid,
Yeah.
making fun of my hearing. Like just poor. Like Meredith's just sitting there, and they're like, "What the fuck are they talking about my hearing aid?" So crazy.
And
Um, anything else you find in Salt Lake City that I missed, or I mean, I'm trying to think kind of where that story. You think it'll keep talking about, or Mary will tell the whole crowd like, her son has a problem, or what do you think will happen?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, she's such an oddball. Uh,
Yeah,
she might tell them in the most weird way. She might not even tell them till the last episode, who knows?
yeah,
I still am like, "Where is your husband? Why isn't he here? Why are you taking all of the responsibility of your son's health?" I can't get over the fact that she's got his name in toddler letters over the door.
so weird.
I
I think,
mean, there's just so many questions.
yeah,
Everything is just so, like, I don't know, it's so abstract. Like, it's like
yeah,
an abstract piece of art. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City,
so
like,
so true.
everyone's house is decorated so bizarre. I don't
Yeah,
know, it's kind of like a
it really is. It's just out there on its own. It's like its own separate thing.
yeah.
So it is. I feel. Before we go, since you are the TV expert, I always ask my guests, like, what are you watching right now? What should I start watching?
Oh, I
I'm not
mean,
the best person to ask.
welcome to the Casey world. You'll never be wrong. So, by the way, when people I put out a list every week of what to watch.
Okay,
So
I'm
you get
gonna
a
get
newsletter that it tells you every Monday everything. I
you
give you
eat
about 6 to 8 options, but they're all on unscripted TV. So just know that.
all unscripted. Okay.
Okay,
Big
so like this week, The Ultimatum, for example, is back on Netflix, which is hysterical. Couples that are like, "Are you gonna do this, or are we not gonna do this?" There have been so many good true crime docs as of late, sports
Mhm.
docuseries. Okay, tell me what you like to watch, and I'll tell you something that's really great.
Like the crime docs are I want to watch the Benet Ramsey
John
thing.
Bonet one?
Yeah, I need to watch that one. I just finished on Netflix, um, the podcast one, you know, with Kaylee Cuoco. Oh, fucking
Yes, okay,
Based on
yep.
true story. I did that. I loved that show.
Have you
Um,
ever watched Murder on Middle Beach on HBO?
no.
Okay, so that one was in 2020 on HBO. You can go back and watch it. It's a
Okay.
multi episode. And Madison Hamburg's mother was killed. She was found outside their house like 10 years before.
Hmm.
And so the whole series is about him going back and finding out more about his mom. Like she was involved with an MLM. She had a bad relationship with his father and trying to figure out who killed his mom. It's very compelling.
I love fucking
And there are
stories.
all these like weird family dynamics.
Uh-huh.
So I feel like you might like that. It's called Murder on Middle Beach.
Myrtle Middle
Do you
Beach?
like Murder on Middle Beach? Do you
Yeah.
like cult stuff?
Yes.
Okay, have you ever watched Holy Hell?
No.
Okay, Holy Hell is about this cult leader. His name was Michelle. And of course, he had some variations of his name. Michelle was like an actor and an astrologer that got all of these people in the 80s to follow this cult, which he called the Buddha Field. And they left LA and they went to this like commune they built in Texas.
Yeah.
And the kicker was all of the people who like left their lives behind, they give him all of his money. One of the things he would have them do is practice for hours, ballet dancing, to put on a performance where he, the cult leader, is the lead and there's no audience. So, like, let's say I joined, I've never danced in my life. I'm in a leotard, I'm practicing for 8 hours a day for a performance that no one's going to watch. And Michelle, the cult leader, is the head of it.
They're
Of
all
course,
doing
there's other stuff with it where he has all these guys that come in for counseling sessions and he's like, assaulting them, etc. But it's a doozy to watch.
okay. I'm gonna
And that
watch
one you can find on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. All right, it's amazing. So I got my TV for the week. Thank you so much. And tell everybody where they can find you.
So you can find my podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, Reality Life with Kate Casey. That list of what to watch each week, you
I
can
want
get it katecasey.substack.com. And then
okay.
every Monday I tell you what to watch. And then I have episodes Monday through Saturday.
And I'll post all that in the description as well. Also Cyber Monday, 50% off chefstuart.com. All my seasonings are there. I'm getting rid of the stock. And then if you want the original seasoning, go to spicetribe.com because I'm moving my company all over there. And that's where you can find my stuff.
Very cool. Congrats.
Thank you so much, Kate Casey. And
Thank you.
see you all next week, guys.